Hey everybody, today is Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, and we're here in historic Yellow Springs, Pennsylvania to take a look at something pretty awesome. Something I really wanted to show you guys, though no vehicles beyond this point. Thankfully, I'm parked over there, so no big deal. But wanted to bring you guys out here to take a look at something pretty cool, something I've actually been out here personally to take a look at before. Did not bring you guys out here to take a look at this, but the reason why I was out here before was to take a look at something for a completely different reason than why we're going to take a look at it today. It's something else that actually did serve a different purpose, and that's why I was out here before, but apparently it had a completely different purpose before the purpose of why I came out here before. What am I trying to say? We're going to see something pretty cool today. That's what I want to tell you guys. I will tell you guys about the history of both things this area was once used for. But before we actually get out there, take a look at this tree. I have to show you this. Oh my gosh, look at that. I have never been so tempted to climb into a tree before in my entire life. I'm not going to go in there though, because that's where the changelings live. If you guys know what movie I'm referencing, leave a comment down below. But look at that. That is crazy. I want to crawl inside there. That is insane. That is nuts. You can see the termites have been eating away at this tree. Though what's crazy is I'm noticing there are still leaves and like seed pods on this tree. This tree is actually still living. This tree is not dead. How is this tree that's being eaten alive by termites not dead? Comments down below. That is insane. That is nuts. No pun intended. That is nuts that are still on this tree. That is crazy. All I know is they better cut this tree down because it's actually leaning towards the historical structure right here. And if there's one thing I know about insurance is that if you have a tree on your property that is not looking so hot, it's dead, it's definitely a dying tree, and you let it go and it does eventually fall on your house and damages your house, the insurance company is going to say, well, you knew that tree was not doing so good. You should have got it cut down. You did not get it cut down, and as such, we're not going to pay you what we owe you. So that's not good. They should really cut this tree down before it does fall in the house. That is an epic looking tree. I just had to show that to you guys. That is crazy. That's not why we're out here today, but that is crazy looking. I can't believe that tree is actually still alive, seeing as how the whole inside of it is really not even there anymore. That is nuts. That is an intense tree. That is pretty cool. Anyway, bonus tree for you guys today in this video. What we're actually here to take a look at is right up these stairs right here. So I was out here before a couple of years ago to actually take a look at filming locations for The Blob, because the actual film company that produced The Blob actually resided here in Yellow Springs. So the company who actually produced and filmed and made the movie The Blob, the classic 1958 Steve McQueen The Blob, actually resided right here in Yellow Springs, Pennsylvania, which is pretty cool. So lots of Blob history here in this town. At some point, we will actually come back out here and take a look at the Blob history that is in this town. But right now, we're going to take a look at something that, again, I came out here to take a look at because it does have a little bit of Blob history, but it has a bit more history than that. Oh my gosh, it is so incredibly cold outside right now. Once again, I should have put a heavier jacket on. When I got out of the car, I thought, okay, the sun's out. It feels pretty good. But now that I've been walking like 20 feet, I'm thinking, nope, I should put some gloves on. Should put a heavier jacket on. It's actually kind of cold out right now. It's making it very, very hard and difficult to talk with this cold air going into my lungs right now. But anyway, the reason why I wanted to bring you guys out here is to take a look at this right here. These are the ruins of a Revolutionary War hospital. How awesome is that? Yellow Springs General Hospital. It says on this site in January 1778, construction was completed on the only hospital commissioned to be built by the Continental Congress for the Revolutionary War. Look at that. Then it does say hospital was closed in 1781, but continued to serve the village of Yellow Springs in other capacities. Fire destroyed the building in 1902, but was rebuilt. Fire once again claimed the building in 1964. So burnt down in 1902 for the first time, then burnt down in 1964 for the second time. Again, why do they build structures out of wood? I will never understand that. All structures should be built out of stone and metal. Wood should not be part of construction. It always burns down. But anyway, look at this Revolutionary War hospital. How cool is that? So the reason why I came out here originally a couple of years ago because of Blob purposes was because from what I was told, this was actually used as storage. It got burned down in 1964. So before that, in the 1950s, when the actual, again, company was out here who produced the Blob and filmed the Blob and shot the Blob and made the Blob, they apparently used this structure as storage for their studio. So I guess they would keep camera equipment and other props and things like that inside this structure. So I was told anyway. Take everything I say in these videos with a grain of salt. A lot of what I say is things I've read online, or things I've read on plaques, which I'm guessing if I read it on a plaque, it should be legitimate and right. It should be correct history, things that I've been told. So a lot of what I tell you guys are just sometimes hearsay or things I read online. So sometimes that information can be wrong. But from what I was told, this structure was actually used to house equipment and props and whatnot for the actual company, again, who, like I said, produced and made the Blob back in the 50s, which is pretty amazing. But before that, actually served as a Revolutionary War hospital while George Washington and his men were encamped not too far away, X amount of miles in that direction, in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, during the winter of 1777, 1778. They're actually using this. Men who were fighting down in Philadelphia and all over the place, and in Germantown and whatnot, who were battling. I was gonna say maybe Brandy. I don't know when the actual wars took place, but there's Germantown, there was Brandywine, there was Paoli. There was all these different battles that happened, obviously around here in the area. Big Revolutionary War area right here outside of Philadelphia, which is of course where the actual capital of the United States once was until the British Army actually took over Philadelphia. We're not going to get into that too much history. I've already gone into that with you guys, but they actually used this as a Revolutionary War hospital. The only hospital, again, built by the only hospital commissioned by the Continental Congress. This was used to serve the men who were wounded during the Revolutionary War. Pretty crazy. That's awesome. It's really cool the structure still exists. The fact that they've actually maintained this, even though the whole entire structure is no longer here. Again, burned down twice, but at least they still have the actual stone foundation to the hospital, which is really cool. So a little bit of Blob history, a little bit of Revolutionary War history. Now when your friends and you are doing trivia, you can say, I got some trivia for you. What does the Revolutionary War and the 1958 Steve McQueen classic, The Blob, have in common? And when your friends look at you like you're crazy and you have no idea, you can tell them all about the Revolutionary War Hospital here in Yellow Springs, Pennsylvania. That is what the movie and the Revolutionary War have in common. So right now we're actually walking through a garden, and from what I read online, this garden was actually a medicinal garden. So all these herbs here were all used. I mean, not these herbs specifically, but they've actually replanted herbs here to recreate the medicinal herb garden that was here during the Revolutionary War, because they would take these herbs and they would use them for medicinal medicine purposes, for helping out the men who were wounded during the war. There's a little plaque right over here. It's very hard to talk today because the cold air in my lungs is just, it's very, very cold out. 18th century medicinal herb garden. Unless you're over in the UK, then it's herb garden. I agree, by the way, with that. It should be herb garden, not herb garden. There's an H in it, right? Anyway, during the Revolutionary War battles, many soldiers were wounded or killed, but disease from crowded camps, food shortages, and unsanitary conditions were responsible for even more deaths. That is true. As men from the colonies gathered to fight, their germs mingled, spread typhus, tuberculosis, smallpox, and influenza. Unsanitary conditions bred typhoid and dysentery. Food shortages caused scurvy and malnutrition, and so on and so forth. So yes, lots of disease. Disease actually ran quite rampant during the war. And yes, from what I have read, a lot more deaths actually were caused from disease and whatnot than the actual battles themselves. Camps were, especially the encampment at Valley Forge, lots of deaths actually happened at the encampment, or because of the encampment, but not because there was ever a battle there. There was never a battle in Valley Forge. In fact, Valley Forge was just where the men camped. They were camped there over the winter of 1777 into 1778. No actual battle happened there in Valley Forge. There was never a battle of Valley Forge, which I hear people say never actually happened. But a lot of deaths and disease, and people got sick and died there because of disease. They brought the men out here and used the herbs to actually help them get well. So pretty cool. They've actually recreated this herb garden that sat here behind the actual Revolutionary War Hospital. So, all right, guys, wanted to bring you out here. Wanted to show this to you. This is pretty cool. This is pretty awesome. I really did not know this was a Revolutionary War Hospital until I started looking up and reading more about the Revolutionary War, doing more of these videos for you guys. And in doing so, I read online, oh, this was a Revolutionary War Hospital. As soon as I started reading about the Revolutionary War Hospital in Yellow Springs, I saw a couple of pictures of it. I knew exactly where it was, what it was, and of course my mind went, that's the Blob place. That's the place where the film company actually used for storage for their production company, the company who actually put on the Blob. That is awesome, so cool. So I wanted to come back out here and take a look at this, give you guys a little Blob history, because why not? There's some little pamphlets here. The pamphlets probably tell you nothing. Tells you all about the herb garden. I bet they mention nothing about the Blob, unfortunately. We need more Blob signs out here. That's what we need. I read actually online. I was on the Yellow Springs website, and they had some mentions of the Blob. I don't think they mentioned necessarily this being used for storage or whatnot, but they actually did mention the Blob and whatnot on their actual website, which is pretty cool. But we need more placards out here for the Blob. I think there's actually one or two over that way. Steve McQueen actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, again, take everything I say with a grain of salt, but if I'm not mistaken, he actually honeymooned out here, maybe staying in maybe that building there. One of these buildings he actually stayed in for his honeymoon. He was just recently married right when he was shooting the Blob, so he came out here to film it and actually honeymooned in one of these buildings here. We'll talk about that at some other point. I believe there's a placard or some kind of historical information about Steve McQueen and him honeymooning out here. Well, again, someday we'll come back out here. Maybe when it's warmer, who knows? Maybe even when it's colder, I don't know. We'll come back out here and we'll talk all about Steve McQueen and him honeymooning here in Yellow Springs during the filming of the classic 1958, The Blob, or the 1778 Revolutionary War Hospital, the only Revolutionary War Hospital commissioned by the Continental Congress. Pretty crazy, pretty cool, pretty awesome. So there you go, guys. Like I said, some Revolutionary War Hospital, or some Revolutionary War history, Revolutionary War Hospital history for you guys, and some Blob history for you guys. You can actually have like events out here. You can have weddings out here and stuff. These are tables. I've seen this place decorated for weddings and whatnot. It looks pretty awesome. In fact, this would have been a cool place to have a wedding. As a big of a history buff and as big of a film buff as I am, this would be an amazing place to have gotten married. Darn it. Should have looked into that back in the day. But all right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna get back to the car. It is very, like I said, very cold out. Thankfully, the sun is out, which is helping. There's only a slight breeze blowing, so it's not super cold, but it is still pretty darn chilly out today. It is December, and it is Pennsylvania. Not as cold though as the men who were in the encampment during the winter of 1777, 1778. I have nothing to complain about right now. I guarantee you right now, the men, if they had this weather back during that time, they would be loving it right now. They'd be so happy. They'd probably be sitting out in their lounge chairs made of logs. I don't think they had lounge chairs made of logs, but they would have made lounge chairs made of logs. They would have been sunbathing in the sun because it would have been so incredibly nice. Instead, that winter was insanely brutal. It was one of the worst winters we've ever had here in Pennsylvania, unfortunately. But anyway, guys, all right, enough of that. Very cool, very interesting, very awesome. Revolutionary War Hospital remains. Now the wind's starting to pick up now, and the remains of storage for the company, the film company who actually made the Blob. But all right, guys, like I said, I'm gonna let you go. It's so cold. I'm freezing. My hand, once again, is officially frozen to my camera. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely check down below for links to Patreon. If you guys do become a patron, I will send you a postcard every single month from the road. Also, check down below for a link to Spreadshirt, where you can grab yourself retro rest stop t-shirts. Proceeds both from Spreadshirt and from Patreon. You can help putting gas in Vanabelle and in Pumpkin, so we can come out to interesting places like this. I can tell you guys all kinds of weird history that mingles the Blob and the Revolutionary War. Strange, but awesome. So, all right, guys, hit the like button. If you guys are subscribed or you do subscribe, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.